Hi friends, this is Terry from the Frugal Connection. Today I want to welcome you to my kitchen and walk you through a recipe that we're going to make called chickpea chocolate cookies. My daughter's bridal shower is this coming weekend on Saturday, and her maid of honor and myself are hosting it, but I am making all the food. And I know myself well, and I know that making cupcakes and sweets and all kinds of other goodies that I normally don't eat are going to be very tempting for me. So I thought that I would make a plant-based cookie that I could have as a snack while I'm baking so that I'm not tempted to partake in something that I don't really want to eat. So let's get started. So I want to walk you through these ingredients for this. The first thing we have is 2/3 cups of oats, which we're going to turn into oat flour. I have a 1/2 cup of all natural peanut butter, So it has no added anything. It's just peanuts and that's it. No salt, no nothing. I have 1/3 cup of maple syrup. I have 1 can of chickpeas that I rinsed and drained, or I drained and rinsed well, because you don't want if you can find unsalted, that's great. If not, just make sure you give them a really super good rinse. I have 4 medjool dates that I've pitted. I have vanilla extract. I have cocoa powder here, and I have about 1/3 cup left in this container, which I'm going to use all of it. And then I have cinnamon, salt, baking powder, baking soda. And that's it. That's all you need. My oven is being preheated to 350 degrees right now, and I have my baking pan lined with parchment paper and all ready to go. Okay, the thing that I love about these recipes is it's pretty much all one pot. So I have my food processor here. You can use a high-speed blender if you would like, but I'm going to use this because it'll do the trick, and that's all I need. So I'm going to take my 2/3 cup of oats, I'm going to dump it in here, and I'm going to give this a good mix. Okay, it's not quite flour, but it's okay because it'll just give it some texture. And again, this is a super easy, no fuss recipe. Now I'm going to take my other dry ingredients, so my cinnamon, my salt, my baking powder, my baking soda, and I'm just going to add that to this. I'll make sure that's all in there. I am going to also, actually I think what I'm going to do is just give that a big quick whir together. Okay. Now I'm going to add my chickpeas. I'm going to add my dates. I'm going to add my, oh, you know what I forgot to put in here? I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to put in my cocoa powder. That's all done. I'm going to add my peanut butter. My maple syrup. And I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, which I make myself. And I'm just going to, I don't have a teaspoon with me, so I'm just going to eyeball it. It was about 2 teaspoons. Okay, so now we just cover this up, and we mix it all together. Just going to stir it around just a little bit, make sure it's all incorporated well. You don't want chunks of chickpeas, so you want to make sure that that's all well mixed, and also that your dates have ground up well. So here we go. This is what it should look like. I don't know if you can see it. Super simple, not difficult at all. Now, I am going to transfer it into a bowl just to make it easier to scoop. I have a small cookie scoop here, and I lined my pan with parchment paper, and my oven is ready to go. So once I get this all on the pan, we just pop it in the oven. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm just going to scoop these out into just round balls on my lined baking sheet. And once these are all scooped out, you pop them in a 350-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. It really just depends on your oven temperature. I mean, different people's ovens cook unevenly, so you know your own oven, and you just got to keep an eye on them because you don't want them to burn. In fact, I think I'm going to move them closer together. They really don't spread much. So once I get them all on this cookie sheet, I'm going to actually flatten them a little bit just to make them a little less ball-like, because it'll take longer to cook that way also. So if I flatten them, it reduces the cooking time a little bit. But I'm just going to flatten them slightly. I'm not going to cram them down flat. So anyway, as I mentioned, my daughter is getting married on August 31st, and I am making 900 cookies for her wedding. So I am knowing that I want to have some healthy alternatives for myself, so that I am not tempted to eat cookies. Now, I have, when I was not eating plant-based, and before I lost all my weight, I've lost 72 pounds on eating a plant-based whole food diet. But before I started eating that way, my weakness was cookies. So before I get in the middle of baking cookies, I want to make sure I have some alternatives for myself, so that if I do get tempted, there is something that I can eat that's not full of processed sugar or highly processed foods. You know, all the things that I found for myself really kept me in this cycle of overeating and eating the wrong thing and being very overweight. So I'm thankful that I have figured out some alternative ways to bake. So I can still satisfy my sweet tooth from time to time, but like this does not have highly processed granulated sugar in it. It just had the little bit of maple syrup and the dates, which provides the rest of the sweetness. And some of my other desserts will have different fruits in them, like banana or applesauce, which will also give you that sweetness that you want without the bad sugar. So anyway, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm going to pop these in the oven, and I'll meet you back here when they're done. So the cookies still have about 9 minutes more to go, and while we're waiting for them to cook, I did want to mention a couple of things. This particular recipe that I am showing you, if you do not like cocoa powder or you don't want them to be so chocolatey, you can actually substitute, take out the cocoa powder and put in a half a cup of dairy-free, sugar-free chocolate chips. You can find those kind of in your health food areas of your grocery stores. I did not have any of that, so I did put in the cocoa powder, which was unsweetened. So it gives me that chocolatey flavor I'm looking for without the sugar. You could also, instead of the cocoa and instead of the chocolate chips, you could put nuts in there, or you could add nuts on top of the other things. As long as they're raw, they're not roasted with oil or salt. You could add in some, instead of the chocolate version of it, you could use the base recipe and then add in cranberries or chopped cherries or white chocolate chips. I'm not sure you're going to be able to find white chocolate without sugar, though. My way of eating is plant-based whole foods. Not everybody eats this way, I understand. The purpose of this channel, though, the reason I called it the Frugal Connection, which is also the name of my website, is to show that you can eat a plant-based whole food diet on a budget in ways that it doesn't cost a fortune to make this type of food. So you don't have to buy specialty items. You don't have to buy all the fancier ingredients. It can be, some of the things can just be simple ingredients that you find in your local grocery store. However, not everybody is going dairy-free, meat-free, but I would encourage you, if you're seeking to lose weight and to eat a more healthful life, have a more healthful lifestyle, a healthier way of eating, is to get rid of the processed sugar, to get rid of the oils, and a lot of the processed foods. That's why the recipes that I use don't tend to use all-purpose flour as much as possible. I will substitute it with a good gluten-free flour, such as oat flour or chickpea flour or almond meal, something like that, so that it's not so processed and it's more of a whole grain. And so it's really changed my life. Like, I am so much more active. My husband and I are on vacation this week, which, to be honest, is not much of a vacation because I'm preparing for a bridal shower. But we did go hiking yesterday, and we went 6 miles in the middle of the Allegheny National Forest. And when I first attempted the trail that we went on yesterday, I just remember huffing and puffing and feeling like I was going to die. Like, I remember him trying to talk to me when we were going up this incline, and me just saying, could you not talk to me, because I can't breathe while I can't talk and hike and try to breathe all at the same time. Yesterday, I did the whole 6 miles, very little exertion. I felt great. I'm off my blood pressure medicine. I'm off, the fatty liver disease has been reversed. I'm no longer pre-diabetic, any of those things. So I would just encourage you to plunge in and give it a try and see what you can do to restore some of the health to yourself. It is a challenge at times, and the main reason it's a challenge, not so much at home, because my husband will eat whatever I make him. And to be honest, my son will too. My son, though, who lives with us, loves his meat, so I will make some meals that incorporate meat and dairy into it. But I do probably at least 3 or 4 times a week, whatever I'm eating is what they eat. And then the other times, if I make something, I will cook a portion of it. Like, for example, if I make chili, I will fry up the ground beef and on the side. I will make the chili the normal way without the meat included, then pull out what I want and then just add the cooked ground beef to theirs, so that I'm really not making 2 separate meals. I try not to do that as much as possible. The only time it's more of a challenge is when I'm out or there's a special occasion like a wedding where I'm making all these cookies. I've been practicing my cupcake decorating skills for her bridal shower this weekend. And so I made a lot of cupcakes the last few weeks. And I did notice, one day I did eat one of the cupcakes, and probably within 5 minutes, I could feel shaky. I didn't feel good. So I could feel the sugar rushing into my bloodstream. So all that to say, it just reminded me of why I'm eating this way. So I would just encourage you to just start small. If it's too much to start all at once, just start incorporating more vegetables, more fruits, more whole grains into your diet, and cut back on the sugar, the oils, the processed foods. And the reason I say cut back on oil is 4,000 calories per pound, which means it's highly dense in calories and it has 0 nutritional value. So a tablespoon of olive oil, and most oils, is 120 calories. When I used to cook with it, I would not measure out a tablespoon of oil to saute. I would go around the pan 3 or 4 or 5 times. So I was probably adding about 700 to 800 calories before I even started cooking the food. And so I just, that's one of the things people always say to me, oh, but I thought olive oil and coconut oil and all those things are healthy. And they're not. That's just a marketing ploy that these companies use, and people have bought into it. So that you can saute with water. You don't need oil to do that. Okay, I'm going to check on my cookies and I will show them to you as soon as they're done. Okay, here's what they look like. Kind of hard to get a, here we go. All right, they are done. I'm just letting them sit on the pan and continue to go for like another 30 seconds to a minute. I did keep them in the oven for 14 minutes, and that seems to be sufficient. Hey friends, here are my cookies. They're still a little warm, so you have to kind of let them sit until they're really totally cooled off, but you can see that's what it looks like on the inside. I don't know if you can tell. I know it's kind of hard to get the camera to zoom in right. I'm operating it by myself, so anyway, let me see. Very good. The dates and the little bit of maple syrup I used, sufficient. It's very sweet. It's very chocolatey, but it's packed with protein because it's basically made with oats and chickpeas. So awesome. This should do the trick for me. So if I do get tempted while I'm baking something, I can eat one of these, and that should just satisfy me enough to keep me going so that I'm not tempted to partake of chocolate cupcakes with buttercream frosting, which is one of the things I'm making. And so you have to just know what's your temptation, plan ahead for it, and come up with some alternatives that will give you that satisfaction you're looking for without the bad stuff. If you like this recipe, I will post the link down below in the description box so you can visit my website where I will list the recipe along with some of the variations. You can give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already done that. That does help for YouTubers to help them get noticed so people will see my videos. And that is the point of this YouTube channel, is just to kind of teach you some different ways of cooking, give you some fresh ideas of how you can incorporate freshness, healthy foods in a way that won't break the bank and will give you some alternatives to the processed, sugar, fat-laden foods that we all eat as Americans. I hope you're having a great day. I now have a giant size to-do list between now and Saturday that I need to get done. So once I get this video all together, I am going to get started on that, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day.